It's Thursday, January 3rd, 2008. Joe wakes up happy because today is Caucus Day, and Joe is a precinct captain for John Edwards. He checks the temperature. Boy, it's a cold one out there. As his daughter leaves for school, he reminds her to tell all her friends about the caucus. Even if they aren't registered yet, or if they're already signed up as Republicans or Independents, they can still caucus for John Edwards tonight. They just have to be 18 by November 4th, 2008, and show up before the doors close at 7 p.m. On the other side of the state, another proud Edwards precinct captain, Jane, goes online to johnedwards.com/Iowa to triple-check her precinct location. Next, she zips up her jacket, puts on her John Edwards for President button, and grabs her last remaining pieces of literature to give out at work. Meanwhile, Joe picks up coffee and donuts to bring to his local John Edwards for President office. America is hungry for change, but right now, the staff and volunteers are hungry for breakfast. At the office, he high-fives the other volunteers. Today is going to be a great day, the beginning of the end of the Bush administration. Joe and the volunteers work the phones all day, reminding people to come out and caucus. After work, Jane double-checks her precinct captain packet and sharpens her pencil. At 5:30 p.m., she leaves to pick up the people that need a ride to the caucus. Joe wishes everyone good luck and heads back to his house to set his TV to record the Orange Bowl. The caucus will only take an hour or so, and he won't miss much of the game, but Joe isn't taking any chances. He borrows his son's calculator. He grabs some loaves of homemade bread. He is ready. At 6 p.m., Jane and her carpool arrive early and offer to help set up. Jane signs in and proudly checks off her support for John Edwards. Over at his caucus location, Joe has staked out a corner of the room and put up some John Edwards signs. His homemade bread is perfectly positioned. Everyone can see it and smell it, especially the undecideds. As caucus goers arrive, Joe directs other Edwards supporters to his corner, and he makes his best pitch to his neighbors who are still making up their minds. Then, the moment we've all been waiting for. At 6:30 p.m., in 1,784 precincts across Iowa, everyone starts to arrive. They have to be there by 7 because that's when the doors close and the caucus must begin. The caucus chair counts the total number of caucus goers and announces the number of supporters a candidate must have in the precinct to be awarded at least one delegate. In most precincts, a candidate needs to have the support of at least 15% of the people in the room. All attendees divide into groups based on who they support. Because Jane and Joe have done such a great job, most Edwards supporters have already gathered in the John Edwards corner. And boy, are there a lot of them. The chair determines which groups don't have enough supporters to earn at least one delegate and tells them to join another candidate group, move to the undecided group, or go home. Joe springs into action. He talks to the caucus goers who are looking for a new group and asks them to join the John Edwards group because John Edwards has a vision for America. He's the only candidate who's never taken a dime from Washington lobbyists, so he'll spend every day of his presidency fighting on behalf of regular Americans. Jane reminds an undecided caucus goer that there's another election after the primaries. In poll after poll, John Edwards is the strongest Democratic candidate against Mitt Romney, Rudy Giuliani, or any other Republican. Everyone is now in one of the remaining groups, and each group has enough supporters to earn at least one delegate. The chair counts the number of people in each section and awards delegates based on how much support the remaining candidates have. The John Edwards corner cheers at the positive results. Then, with precinct captains from each campaign present to verify the results, The caucus chair calls the Iowa Democratic Party and reports the delegate counts. John Edwards' drive to the nomination and taking back the White House has begun, right here in this precinct. Joe thanks all the supporters who came out tonight and pushed John Edwards over the top. Jane heads to her friend's house for a victory party and waits for the 10 o'clock news. She can't help suppress a smile. Good news is coming in, and America will never be the same. Next January, Jane thinks to herself, she'll be watching John Edwards sworn in as President of the United States.